Meantime, though, is going to offer up the target time. Whether the Porsche colours strikes gold this weekend remains to be seen. But the 911, which has evolved over the course of seasons, goes over the timing line and does a 2:25.930. So that's Marin Heinrich's opening salvo, chased by Antonio Fuoco behind, and he does a 2:26.6. As far as Lisboa, before there was a little bit of a nudge from the back, and Raffaele Marciello got into the back of the Ferrari. Fuoco says, paraphrasing, Marciello had him off. Marciello says Fuoco braked too early. Discuss. Anyway, Fuoco fastest, 2:20.693. Sheldon van der Linde is currently second in BMW number 31, which is the WRT entry. Raffaele Marciello's BMW coming out of the Rover Racing stable. That going over the timing line is Laurens Vanthoor, who now goes fastest, so it's a different Porsche to the top of the times. Laurens Vanthoor, who is quicker by, what now? 0.6 of a second, puts the Phantom car up to the top of the times. So the tempo by absolute Porsche goes fastest. Sheldon van der Linde has done an absolute best in sector 1. Yeye Fay had done an absolute best in a sector, but has now pitted. He's bailed out of the lap as you look at the Porsche of Vanthoor going through Lisboa. It's a brilliant shot, that, especially when it's a GT car going through Lisboa. You've got all the colours, it's the crane in the background, the barriers either side. It sort of encapsulates Macau.
It's a really colourful part of the circuit, day and night.
Montclass winner, as over the timing line goes Sheldon van der Linde to put the BMW fastest. That is a 2:18.664, so good lap that by Sheldon van der Linde. He and brother Kelvin, the two South Africans that race BMWs, different championships, but both very successful. We still haven't yet seen the best coming out of Raffaele Marciello, but we will get there. As now Laurens Vanthoor goes top for Porsche, 2:17.969. Times are tumbling, aren't they, with 24 minutes still to go?
They certainly are, and it's just lovely to see, isn't it, that they instantly get the cars up to temperature, and this is where experience really shows. They can put laps in, and so early on as well.
But, and again, you're right, but if you put them next to the single-seater drivers, it's like comparing apples and pears, because these are manufacturer-paid professional drivers, much more experienced, as against the single-seater drivers, in the case of the F4 contingent, who can't even drive on the road yet. You're riding with Raffaele Marciello, so he's done his outlap. This is a flying lap, and the way that they've played the session, look, they've managed to get clear track space for Marciello. He's heading down to Lisboa. Can you see a corner? Not yet, not yet, not yet. There it is, gap in the barrier. Let's aim for that. Turn right, back on the power.
Exceptional on board with Raffaele Marciello. He was superb in single-seaters around the gear circuit here at Macau, and has been superb in GT cars as well. One of those drivers that has got a full, rich history in the Macau gear circuit. A little bit like Eduardo Mortara, who was victorious in single-seaters and has been victorious in GT cars as well.
Yeah, Marciello, Italian, but now based in Switzerland and Swiss national, turning his way down through the Solitude S's and Faraway Hill. Formula 3 champion, multiple GT champion, whether it's been in as it then was, Blancpain Sprint or Endurance Series. He's won here in 2019 and 2023, and a winner this season just gone in the Sprint Cup in GT World Challenge Europe, one at Misano, sharing with Valentino Rossi. Right, he's turned his way out of Moorish Hill, makes the climb up towards Donna Maria now, through that left, and barely anything to get in the way here. Now, in terms of sectors, they're all good, they're all personal best, as you would expect, first proper flying lap, but there are no purples. Comes down through Black Sands then. Speed building all the time. Raffaele Marciello is about to turn the car right and sort of explodes back onto the open part of the circuit. You go from 2 lanes through Fisherman's, 4 lanes, the road opens up, he's up against the wall on the outside, foot nailed to the boards, comes down now into our bend. The time he's aiming for is something better than a 2:17.969. Marciello is slowest at the moment, 16th in the times. He's about to break the timing beam, and as Raffaele Marciello goes through, he will improve to get himself up to 5th fastest, then down to 6th because Alessio Picariello goes through. Eduardo Mortara, in the meantime, has just gone through to be 8th quickest. So, yeah, Marciello's lap was a decent one, but not mega, still 1.3 seconds down. This is Mortara, Mr. Macau.
It certainly is. How many victories has Eduardo Mortara had in single-seaters and GTs? He is...
And the time to beat is a 2:17.9, and as up to the line goes Fuoco, we cut to look at the Porsche coming towards the end of the lap. Fuoco fastest on a 2:17.796 then. And Alessio Picariello's Porsche looking rapid as well. The Belgian driver who's done much of his racing out here. This year's GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup champion breaks the beam, goes fastest. Picariello's Porsche then to the top, 2:17.795. That's a 1,000th of a second difference. 1,000th quicker than Fuoco goes Picariello. If anybody wants to moan about the BOP, how's that for parity? 1,000th of a second.
So it couldn't be any closer, could it? Picariello, top of the times, car number 911, and car 50 is second by 1,000th of a second. 2:17.795, quickest time so far. We've got just over 19 minutes of this session remaining, and it could be any one of 10 or 12 of these drivers that takes victory this weekend. This is a great lineup.
It is. And if a GT car around Macau doesn't stir something, then you need to go and seek medical help, I reckon, because this is just an awesome entry. The cars, the circuit, everything together just works, doesn't it? And
it does.
They're proper drivers in proper cars on a proper circuit, and they all love coming here.
And get excited about this. Raffaele Marciello has just gone purple in Sector 1.
Okay, so let's see what he can do against the Porsche of Picariello. Antonio Fuoco's lap started okay, but I think it might be bailing. Yes, he's backed it right off, hasn't he, coming out of Donna Maria. So Fuoco, he's going to possibly box, then certainly go again. Marciello, in the meantime, absolute best and a personal best. Trading absolutes on this lap with Lawrence Van Thorn. And this isn't even qualifying. To make the point about qualifying, it's a new format for this year. So they have a normal qualifying session, and then the top 10 get 2 laps. They get a new set of tyres, and they're allowed to do 2 laps. It's a similar idea to the Super Pole that we have for the 24 Hours of Spa. So it really is against the clock in isolation. So 2 laps against the clock for Q2 for Super Pole, new for this year. That's going to be mega.
I like the idea of this. Raffaele Marciello put in purple in Sector 1, a green in Sector 2, so personal best, but not so in Sector 3. We saw earlier on in some of the sessions that if you put in a purple in Sectors 2 and 3 or 3 and 4 and not necessarily light everything up in the first and last sectors, you can still go top.
Yep.
Well, Marciello has gone personal best in Sectors 2 and 4, went overall best in Sector 1, which for many years in a BMW, that always went to Augusto Farfus, didn't he?
That's
He always
right.
went best in overall best in Sector 1.
Well, this is Marciello.
Adley Fong.
Adley Fong has gone fastest in the Cinnamoroll Audi. Alan will get excited about that in a moment. We'll get excited about Marciello, who's gone across the line but doesn't improve. So stays 7th fastest on a 2:18.184. Pretty much most things were better, apart from the position at the end of it. So we need to find number 36 Audi that is in the 2nd sector, because Adley Fong in the Cinnamoroll Audi, there it is, has gone fastest. Now, I say this next sentence with a voice laden with doom. Alan, do tell us about Cinnamoroll.
Are you sure you want this now?
Oh, yes.
Hang on a sec. I have a folder.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
Hurry up, it won't be quickest much longer. Right,
it's
Q.
It's the Kuromi folder from last year that we were given. I'll just read the synopsis of Cinnamoroll, who is a white dog who lives at Cafe Cinnamon. He is friends with chiffon mocha, espresso, cappuccino and milk over there. He fell out of the sky when wandering on the clouds and landed near Cafe Cinnamon. He's a male white and chubby dog with long ears that enables him to fly. He's got blue eyes, pink cheeks and a tail that represents a cinnamon roll.
That was Alan Hyde who died today.
One of his main hobbies is eating. That's
Really?
it, that's all I've got.
Right. The reason for this, you've not suddenly strayed onto the wrong channel. This is the livery of the Audi, which every year the team has a Hello Kitty or related livery. Hello Kitty 2 years ago, last year it was Kuomi, and this year it's carrying the character Cinema Roll, about which you've just been heard from Alan.
The little white dog.
The little white dog,
yeah.
Right.
With a tail like a cinnamon roll.
You've got 4 days of this, everybody. Brace yourselves.
I won't do the full synopsis again.
Small mercies then. Right, there is Adelie Fong in the Audi.
Have you any idea how popular this is? You see the people that were queuing up first thing this morning.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable.
And they do genuinely come from mainland China, queue for merchandise. And Alan was in the queue himself overnight, camping out. Over the timing line comes Adelie Fong. However, he is still at the top of the times. They'll have a Cinema Roll update in due course. In the meantime, this is the Ferrari in the hands of Ye Yifei. Up to 4 fastest now, the Le Mans winner. Alan's gone back to Cinema Roll, we've lost him. So, Ye Yifei coming...
I was listening. When you're sitting on board, it's just glorious to hear the cars, isn't it?
It is indeed. And Ye Yifei, who has raced here before, adapting again, as he did at the end of the season, because he raced in World Challenge at Barcelona to a GT3 car, makes the climb up to Donna Maria now. Down through the gears. First gear for the Melco hairpin, and then as soon as he dares, back foot nailed to the floor. Drops it down through the box. Fisherman's speed building all the time up to the end of the lap. 1 corner to go now. And I think he's heading for the pits. After all that, Ye Yifei, the first sector was an improvement, but in the end, with 13 minutes on the clock, he comes into the pit lane. Now, welcome to the FIA GT World Cup. McLaren, we don't always get McLaren representation at Macau. We do this year, which is great to see. And the car being run by the Optimum Motorsport stable. It is Benji Goethe at the wheel. His brother Oliver was on the podium last year, runner-up in the Grand Prix for Formula Regional cars. And Benji Goethe has had a really impressive season, winning in sprint in GT World Challenge Europe at both Misano and Manicourt. The car then being run by Garage 59. So he's now switched to the Optimum Motorsport squad for the weekend. Bas Leinders, team manager, used to race here in Formula 3 Grand Prix as well. But Benji Goethe has improved massively over the last few years as a driver, but it's all a bit of a step into the unknown. There's no Macau data for this car for them to go off.
How nice to have that livery here at Macau as well, the Golf livery, the hugely iconic livery on the car, and very much part of the stable from which the car runs. So the number 5 car, Benjamin Goethe, Optimum Motorsport McLaren. Let's see what that car is going to do over the course of this weekend. It's currently 16th out of 16.
Proper sim for the 2 boys, the 2 sons to use. But even that, it's not just a rig. It is a Gulf, I think it was a Porsche, that they've cut the middle out, cut the cockpit out of. So you sit not just in a rig, but it's in a GT car, which in itself is a Gulf liveried race car.
Wow.
You know, it's done properly.
Were you allowed to sit in it, have a go?
I didn't.
No.
Okay. No, I resisted the temptation. Antonio Fuoco, in the meantime, is another one who I thought was pitting, but actually staying out, albeit at a slightly... It felt like reduced pace, but he comes over the timing line, and yeah, he's about nearly a second down on what he was doing earlier on. But Fuoco continues to stay out there.
Can I just remind you who is still top of the times?
You can remind me about the driver.
Adelie Fong.
Excellent, but not the livery.
No, quite.
Christopher Haasler has just gone through. There he is in the Audi, up to 9 fastest. Not really seen very much of Christopher this year in the SRO GT ranks, but he remains very successful. He's been racing in the International GT Open and the Nordschleife Langstrecke series this year. But Christopher, again, somebody, I don't think he's ever had a win at Macau, but he's been here a lot. He does know his way round, so he's always a force to be reckoned with. Adley Fong, by the way, still fastest and still banging out good sectors.
Yeah, consistently, and that would be good news. It was 2 years ago, wasn't it? He had a big accident the first year that the car was carrying a Hello Kitty livery.
That was the goodbye Kitty year, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Yes, it was a mess.
Part of Macau history in itself, I think.
What, the Hello Kitty livery?
I think so, yeah.
Absolute best are coming from Sheldon van der Linde, BMW number 31, and Lawrence Van Voor in Porsche 992. For it is a 911 Type 992. Two absolute bests now for Lawrence Van Voor. Their number 37 is Andy Deng in the Ferrari, who's been racing in the GT World Challenge Asia SRO Series this year. And as he comes down now through our bend, he's 12th overall. Now, that might not sound mega, but the Chinese driver is relatively inexperienced, and he's ahead of Dorian Boccolacci, Eduardo Mortara, Einstein Guven, Luca Rengler and Benji Goethe. Lawrence Van Voor goes fastest. We're into the 16s now, 2:16.765.
9 minutes remain, and it was 2 overall best sectors for Lawrence Van Voor, with a 2:16.765 at the end of it. And Adley Fong is second quickest. Sheldon van der Linde went overall best in the first sector.
And goes third fastest, Sheldon van der Linde, 2:17.460.
So BMW is now third. Sheldon van der Linde in the purple and pink, and probably every other colour as well on that livery. But it's indicative of where we are racing in the world, and that's what I love about this.
Yeah, that car run by Vincent Voss's WRT stable, and Sheldon van der Linde then third last time through. There, just going underneath the camera, is the Porsche number 23, which is the car of Dorian Boccolacci, who was single-seater champion in France going back a decade. He's been an ice racing champion, Carrera Cup France champion, and did drive in the Macau Grand Prix 10 years ago. This the first time we've seen him, though, in the GT. Been a long time between visits for Dorian Boccolacci, but he goes by.
So 13th out of 16 cars that we have entered for the Macau Grand Prix, the FIA GT World Cup this weekend. And it's Lawrence Van Voor that we're looking at now. Currently quickest of all, a 2:16.451 with under 7 minutes remaining now. 6 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock.
I know by sheer counting you can't get everybody into the top 10, but two names I'm surprised are 14th and 15th. Einstein Guven, the DTM champion, racing here for the first time and sitting in the pit lane at the moment, possibly with a problem, and Luca Rengler, who is only 15th. Now Luca, you might remember, didn't race last year because he had an absolutely mighty accident in practice and was on crutches when he came to the grid on Sunday and was interviewed. He had a month or so in a wheelchair, such were the injuries, in fact, after that. But he's bounced back to fitness and also to success. He was the winner of the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa earlier on in the year with Jordan Pepper and Mirko Bortolotti. So I'm surprised that Luca is as far down as he is. And with Mortara being 13th, it would make you feel that neither of the Lamborghinis have got the best BOP break out of all of this. Einstein Guven has just rejoined the session, and Yefe has just got up to second in the times. You're riding with him. Yefe 7/10 back. Marciello's up to third then. So Porsche, Ferrari, BMW and Adley Fong, after a pit stop, has gone back out, but he's been elbowed back down to fourth. You're riding with Yefe and he's flying.
Absolutely flying. Le Mans winner from this year, currently second. Lawrence Van Voor is top of the times, 2:16.451, with just over 5 minutes of this session remaining. And I'm going to say it, the first session of the day that has not needed interruption. So no interruptions for recovery of cars so far. 5 minutes remain on this section. Let's stay with Raffaele Marciello now, who has gone purple in Sector 1. 23.194 in Sector 1, but it's this and the next sector which is really important. No, nothing particular for Sector 2.
He's dropped 3/10 in that sector alone. So you're right, he had done the absolute best in the first sector, but a 25.6 when he needed a 25.3 or better in Sector 2. So he's dropped 3/10. Now the other one who's flying is Fuoco. who did do the absolute best in that second sector. He's down in 3 and 4. Fuoco's going to come to the line as Marciello gets past, I think that's Mortara, so slightly impeded just because of the sheer width of the car, even though Mortara did let him go. Fuoco's going to cross the line in advance of Marciello, and we'll see what he can do. Marciello climbs Moorish Hill now up towards Donna Maria. And you think this is near the end of the lap. There's still quite a lot of real estate to go, and a red flag because there's been a big accident for what looks like one of the Porsches, and it's Vanthor, I think. Lawrence Vanthor in Sector 1 has hit the wall very hard, and Lawrence Vanthor off the track, bouncing across the barrier. There's debris all over the road. Miroslav Bartos, the race director, calls for an immediate red flag, which will not resume the session. The clock's going to hit 0 long before we can even think about restarting. So that's the end of free practice. And that has come a minute and a half after my colleague talked about a session without stoppages.
Wish I hadn't said anything now.
Well, we were thinking that when you were going on about cinema roll, but anyway, you've cemented it now. Lawrence Vanthor's car, as you can see, with a lot of front damage. So red flag, session done. So you can see the extent. Oh, it's the back of the car as well. He's spun it, hasn't he? And he's done a lot of damage. Look at the barrier as well. That's all deformed and pushed in. So he's hit the barrier. He's okay, which is the good news, but he's lost it. He's spun into the barrier, done front and rear damage. And Lawrence Vanthor, he's been a winner here upside down. He's now fastest, but he's stopped the session with a wrecked car. And let's have a look in the background. He's sideways. He loses it. Around it goes. Bang into the wall. Rear, front, spin. And Vanthor, with a lot of damage to the Porsche, triggers the red flag. Lost it. Round it goes. It hops, it skips, and it cannons off the barrier, and bodywork flies. Lawrence Vanthor, a big accident, but the best news of all, he's okay. We saw him get out of the car, but it's going to be a while to sweep the circuit, and you can see the amount of damage done. Somebody is in for a very long night. These cars have FP2 at just after 3 o'clock, and I'll put a tenner down. That's not going to be on the track.
2.5 hours. 2.5 hours away. And it shows you just how fine the margins are around the gear circuit, because that wasn't a huge hit, was it? But it bites.
Yeah, I mean, he was, what, an inch or two, if you like, offline, but enough to spin the car around. And again, you're talking about somebody here, you know, we've just made the point. He's a winner at Macau.
Yes.
This is a guy that spends almost every weekend in a Porsche of some description, going from one type of circuit to another, and a tiny little error, and you see the consequences. The car quickly lifted, but look at the debris all over the racetrack.
So getting the car out of the way is the smallest of jobs. It's so quick that they can do it. Confirmation of the order with Lawrence Vanthor in 992, causing the red flag, but also topping the times, a 2:16.451 from Ye Yifei, some 7/10 of a second behind in second place. Raffaele Marciello, who was going for it in the closing stages, finishes up in third place, and triumphant, if you like, for Adley Fong during that session, really topping the times for maybe a majority of that session, it's fair to say. Finishes up in fourth place. Sheldon van der Linde in fifth, and Antonio Fuoco completes the top 6.
Well, Lawrence Vanthor was the fastest by 7/10 of a second, and he ends up with a very badly damaged car indeed. The team will have seen that, but they can't really do a full assessment until it comes back. It's not only the bodywork, but rear engine going in first, rear engine car, I should say, going in first would have done a lot of damage to the engine as well, I fear. The Tempo by Absolute Racing squad then with much work to do, but I can't see that car being on track for FP2. But I'm happy to be proved wrong, but I really doubt it. So Vanthor from Ye, Marciello from Fong, van der Linde and Fuoco are top 6.
那接下来呢，稍事休息15分钟之后，将会进行下一个阶段的比赛。那么这一场结束之后，我们接下来要带给您的就是
number 23, which is the car of